My goodies are showing. I am Ray, and this year is the year that everything is going to work out perfectly for you. You want to know how I know this? Because you're watching this video. All you got to do is this. Step 1, vision. You got to know what you want. Because if you don't know what you want, then how are you going to get it? Doesn't make any sense now, does it? That's one of the reasons why a lot of people, they struggle in life. And they never get what they want because they're not clear about it. So figure out what you want for yourself and your life for this year. And all you got to do is imagine it in your brain. And the more clearly you can imagine it, the higher chance it will come into fruition in your life. Now, you don't have to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. But you just need a general idea of where you're going. It's like, you want to go camping? You got to type it in your GPS or you're going to get lost. You don't want to get lost now, do you? So you got to have somewhere you're going. Step 2, the golden rule of manifestation. It was taught by Jesus, and he said, when you pray, pray as though you have already received, and you will. And what this means is you need to have faith and certainty that whatever it is that you desire is already yours. Because, well, first of all, time is not really linear, it's relative. So we think, oh, well, there's tomorrow, and there's the next day, and the next day. But really, there's just the present moment, and all potential realities existing here right now. So instead of being a slave to 3D time, you want to exist from this higher dimension. This higher dimension where all possibilities exist, called imagination. And what you do is the more you visualize, or at least get clear on what you want, you reach your hand like a claw into the realm of infinite potential, and you bring down that potential reality into the present moment, into actuality. And then reality begins to change itself to match that reality instead of your current reality. The only thing is you need certainty because, well, sometimes there's going to be roadblocks and things that don't, it looks like things aren't going your way for some time. But this is all part of the process. Sometimes in order for the new life to be built, the old life has to fall away. And that's not always pretty or nice. So when you go through tough times or struggles or whatever it is, and you're like, where's my stuff? Why, I thought I manifested this. Why aren't I seeing my results? Where are my big booty Latinas? This is not working out as I thought. Just remember that things are rearranging themselves in order for you to step into your new life. And that there is nothing wrong, that it's all perfect. And also, you need to be shaped into the individual that can not only receive what you desire, but also sustain it over time. Because what's the point of just getting what you want if you're just going to throw it all away on accident? Self-sabotage. Life has to carefully, like God working on a marble block that is you, breaking off all the pieces that don't fit into the work of art inside. And sometimes we don't like pieces of ourselves being chipped away. So it's really as simple as, okay, you get an idea of what you want. You're like, yes, I'm going in this direction. And then you just have faith and trust that you're going to get there. So that no matter what happens, you won't be led astray or you won't give up. Because a lot of people just give up. If the vision is your GPS, certainty and faith and trust is the gas that allows you to get to your destination. Because you wouldn't want to get halfway and then get a flat tire and then be like, okay, I'm going back. This isn't working. And then step 3, all you do is you walk the path. You just do what calls out to be done in the moment. Without each of these 3 steps, it's very difficult to create a life that you actually desire. It's not impossible, but we have to live intentionally. And we have to have the power to allow that reality to be made manifest through certainty. But then also we have to be practical and actually live. And so what will happen? Once you get clear about what you want, You wake up and you start doing things, and certain ideas will pop out to you. Like, hey, go in this direction, follow this train of thought. Hey, go do this for a bit. And you just follow that intuition. You follow that voice that's guiding you, saying, hey, this is where you want to go. You want to go? And you get to this, excuse me, words. Where are you? Apparently I have not had enough coffee. Hold on, let me be smart. Okay, that's better. Where was I? Ah, yes. Once you wake up and you start doing things, you want to just follow that voice that says, hey, go this way. And the path will be unveiled as you walk it, but not before. This is the problem that a lot of people face, is that they want to know how. How is this going to happen? How is this going to work? But it doesn't matter. Because if you knew all of the moving parts, it would be too overwhelming and you wouldn't do it. The path is revealed only one step at a time. And sometimes you got to take detours. You thought, oh, I was going in this direction, but now I'm going in this direction. And you can't think, well, oh, the previous direction was a waste of time. Why did I do all this? Because eventually you might come back to the path again. So it's trying to figure out how this all works and trying to control every step of the process is only going to make you frustrated and delay your blessings. You got to let go and you got to let God. Surrender to the present moment. Walk the path. Just live your life. But instead of just living your life randomly, now you got direction and now you got power. See? And it's really as simple as this. There's not that much to it. People overcomplicate their lives. I mean, think about why most people fail not living a good life that they actually want. First of all, they have no vision for their life. They have no direction, so they're just drifting. And their time gets taken up by duties, responsibilities, obligations, monotonous daily tasks. And before you know it, you wake up 10 years later, what happened to my life? The days keep on going. Time keeps on ticking into the future. And so if you don't ever say, this is what I want, that's what's going to happen, you're not going to get it. And another reason why people fail is that they give up. They say, oh, well, that would be nice, but not for me because I'm a loser and I'm no good. And, well, I don't really need big booties. Take a stand for yourself, for God's sake. It doesn't matter what you want. You got to believe that it is possible. Just believe. And how difficult are these 2 steps? They're effortless. I mean, imagine that. The only thing stopping most people from the life of their dreams is 3 effortless steps. Because it's fun to, figure out what you want to do with your life. That's cool, no? And then step 2, well, certainty. I mean, you can just believe it. I mean, that's the hardest step, but you also build faith and trust over time. All you got to do is not give up. And then step 3, walking the path, well, you're just living your life. You're living your life anyway, so it's effortless. And then you're just doing what life says, hey, do this, do that. Something will call out to you to be done, and you follow your bliss. You say, what would be the most enjoyable thing for me to do today? That's not just indulging in temporary pleasure, because that's not actually fun. And the more you feel like, yes, this is right, this is what I need to be doing right now, the more it's aligned with your vision, the more it's aligned with what is right for you. And sometimes that means taking a nap and not putting all of this unnecessary pressure on yourself, saying, well, you got to do more. And if you don't do more, you're not going to get what you want. So you got to do more. Forcing yourself to do the most is not having faith or certainty. It's being insecure. It's saying, if I don't work myself to death, then I won't get what I want, so I have to work really hard. Doesn't mean you can't work really hard, but think about the energy that you're coming from. When you're uncertain of the outcome, you gotta try really hard and struggle, but when you're certain, you're relaxed, it's all good, no worries. You're just living your life, you're just having fun, you're having a good time. You stop taking everything so seriously. And that is the quickest path to open yourself up to receive all that you desire. And the more you're stressed out, the more you're annoyed and frustrated at life, the more you're telling the universe, you're telling God, hey, I don't have what I want. I don't have what I want. So you're reaffirming this reality that you don't want this. So you're staying stuck in the exact reality that you're trying to escape. And yet, if you learn how to enjoy your life now, you automatically escape your current reality. You escape the reality that says, life isn't going the way I want. Life sucks. I had to struggle really hard. Instead of trying to change your circumstances to feel better, you start feeling better now, and your circumstances change. Because we live in an attraction-based universe. What does this mean? It means that everything comes down to energy, and energy is frequency and vibration. That's why Nikola Tesla said, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. You see, what a lot of people get stuck in is they get stuck in dealing with their current problems. Like, let's say you're dealing with lack. This is a problem. So people spend their whole lives trying to just put out fires. I get a bill in the mail. Oh no, I got to work really hard. I got to work overtime. I'm trying to save up my money, save up my scraps, so that maybe one day I can have a little bit of freedom. And that whole narrative is just a lie. I'm sorry, it doesn't exist. It's a lie to keep the slaves enslaved to a life they don't desire. By using hope. You see hope? It's the poison of the slaves. Hope that if you just keep grinding your life away, that maybe one day something will change. And it doesn't. I promise you that. Because life can only be experienced in the present moment. There is no tomorrow. So you're either living right now and enjoying life, or just doing what's in front of you, or you're not living at all. You're living in an imaginary fantasy of some projected future. So people struggle with lack and scarcity. But because that's all they focus on, well, guess what? That's all they think about. And that's how they feel. And your thoughts will influence your feelings, and your feelings will influence your actions. And all of your life will be colored by the energy of lack and scarcity. Not because it's just magical, but because that's all you're thinking about. So you feel like poop all the time. And so you take terrible actions that reaffirm more lack and scarcity. And I see it all the time. People who have money trauma will subconsciously sabotage themselves all the time in these tiny ways that we think is just random. Like, oh, I lose my wallet. You didn't lose your wallet. Your nervous system doesn't feel safe around money, so it threw it away unconsciously. And then you, as the conscious mind, are just left having to deal with the mess. Why would the nervous system do that? It's because if you lived your whole life in lack and scarcity, your nervous system thinks, oh, this is like a scavenger animal. They have to struggle to survive. They're always having to work really hard to get what they want. They don't belong at the top of the food chain. They're at the bottom. And the people at and the animals at the top of the food chain, they get all the abundance, but the people or the animals at the bottom, they get nothing. So if you, as a bottom feeder, not saying you specifically, but just, someone, if they come into any amount of abundance, their nervous system says, oh, this is not good, this is not right, this is not in alignment with what this animal is. There's a mismatch. They're trying to be up here, but they're down here. So we have to get rid of whatever it is that's not in alignment. That's why some people, they work really hard and they never get ahead in life. They just spin their wheels, spin the engine, and it's just going all the time, not going nowhere. And the reason our unconscious sabotages us in this example, it's because if you are actually at the bottom of the food chain and you started getting a bunch of abundance, well, someone who's at the top of the food chain can easily come and kill you and take all of your stuff. It's a survival response. Your nervous system is just trying to keep you alive. But It keeps you in hell. So what's the point? Your unconscious would rather you live in misery and suffer your life than for you to be dead. So instead, what do? Instead of focusing on what is, because that's only going to make you think, feel, and act bad. You cannot be a realist, because if you're living from your senses, you're always going to be a slave to your circumstances. And if you've only focused on what you've already got, you're only going to get more of just the same. That is why we have an imagination. Through your imagination, you continuously, day after day, get clear about the things that you want, what you want to experience, what kind of life you want to live, how much money you want to make, whatever. Your imagination is infinite. And your body, your nervous system, can't tell the difference between an experience in the world and an experience in your mind because it's all the same. It's all the same one reality. We just falsely assume that this is the real world, and it's just not. It's just our subjective interpretation of objective reality. But using your imagination, what you can do, you focus on that instead of focusing on what is. And you're not just imagining some fancy future, you're imagining as if you're living that reality now. And you can also, anticipate and be excited like, oh, this is coming to me. So it's not so strict, oh, I gotta pretend that I'm actually living this now. You can also imagine that, okay, this is coming soon. But think about what this does. You start to think differently. Like, good things are coming. I'm so excited. So amazing. This year is going to be amazing. I can't wait. Or you can say, oh, this year is going to be another year that sucks. And both will be true for you because that's what you're focusing on. You can anticipate good things. Anticipate what you desire coming into your life. Every single day, you wake up and you say, wow, so many good things are happening. Something amazing is going to happen today. And guess how that makes you feel? It makes you feel good. And the more you feel good, the more you tell your nervous system, hey, we're no longer at the bottom of the food chain, because people at the bottom of the food chain always feel bad all the time, and people at the top feel good. You start training yourself. Oh, this is no longer a bottom feeder. They're at the top of the food chain. And you start to open up and you start to feel more free. And you start to feel more positive emotions. Now you can receive more abundance because your nervous system is not afraid. You are where you belong. And in fact, the more you visualize yourself living your best life, your nervous system says, wait a minute. This current reality that's going on isn't matching their actual reality that, your unconscious thinks you're actually living through your imagination. Let me rephrase that. Your nervous system starts to believe you're living this different reality. And so your current reality begins to rearrange itself because now you're focusing on different information. You're focusing on only the information relevant to your new reality. And now you're being blinded to the old reality. You're no longer seeing the lack and scarcity. You're no longer seeing the problems. So literally your reality is changing in real time. You're going down these new paths. Now there's a little bit of magic here, but I'll try not to scare you away. Keeping it practical, the more you focus your imagination on what you want instead of what you don't want, the more you're going to think, feel, and act in alignment with that. In alignment with what you do want. That's how your reality changes. Because think about it. The happy chemicals are determined by what you focus on and what you think about. And the only reason people have to grind their lives away, thinking they have to change their reality in order for themselves to feel better, is because they don't know how to use their imagination. They're so stuck in the world, the matrix, they don't realize they are Neo or Nia if you are female. Meaning, you have absolute dominion over the nature of reality through your imagination. The problem is our focus gets hijacked. And so we become like batteries in the matrix, a slave to forces outside of our control, a slave to the system, a slave to the dollar bill, thinking that, oh, well, if only I didn't have to live in this capitalist society where I have to grind my life away for money, that would be better. Not realizing that it's just your belief that enslaves you. It's not, it's all a consent-based system. You give your power away freely of your own consent by believing in what is not true. Now, of course, the forces of darkness, they convince you, but at the end of the day, you have all the power, and you give your power away through belief in what you do not want. You give your consent to the forces of darkness to steal your life, and that is most people. Because if it wasn't most people, you wouldn't see so many people slaving their lives away for nothing. Because money is all fake anyway. It's just numbers. They print trillions. And so it's like, okay, you're working for like $1,000 a week, and then they take half of it in taxes. Are you serious? They print trillions out of thin air. And why do you have to slave your life away for crumbs? And they still take those crumbs. The system is designed to take advantage of your ignorance, getting you to believe that you are a slave when you are not. So you have to remember your true nature, your true power. And that true power is, you have energy, and you have a mind, I think. Maybe you're an amoeba. Your mind is a tool that directs this energy. Like a wand, like a magic wand. And energy is creation. It is the force that creates things. I mean, think about the sun. The sun gives life to the earth, and stars give life to all matter. But you have energy. Your mind is a tool that directs your energy. And so, remember, you always create more of what you focus on. That is why we needed a vision. We need something to focus on, and then we need to focus on it long enough to see results. And so what the matrix, the illusion, what it does, it hijacks your attention to steal your energy. And that's what it means to be a battery in the matrix. It's, like, you ever heard of sweat equity? Like, they don't care about your money. They don't care about, it's fake. They want your life. That's the only thing that has value, is your energy. So you have to take your power back and say no more. You focus on what you want. And once you wake up to your power, instead of you bending to reality all the time, being a slave to your circumstances, reality begins to bend to you. That's also why certainty is required. You have to be stable. You have to be certain. You have to be rooted in stillness, so you're not getting pulled all over the place. You need focus. So it really comes down to visualizing what you want and keeping your attention stuck there when reality tries to take your attention away from that. And this becomes this game of reality is trying to distract you. Here we are, like the woman in the red dress. Look at my boobs. Well, not mine specifically. Don't look at mine. I don't have boobs. Who do you think? It's the whole game. It's how much can you keep your frame in a reality that's trying to get you to conform. You have just begun a whole new game, my friend. A much better one. Because over time, you get better and better at learning how to create your reality, at, actually doing your job as a creator. Are you not made in the image of God? We are all gods that have been enslaved, and we have forgotten our true nature. Like a homeless person that was once heir to the throne, and they got lost and identified as a homeless person. Until one day someone comes along and says, hey, I know you, you're royalty, you shouldn't be here, come on, you have a whole kingdom awaiting you. And then you go to the kingdom and some of those old habits come up. You find yourself, the butler finds you eating worms in the garden. Mm-hmm. No, do not do that. You are not a worm-eating homeless person. So we keep forgetting our true nature. We keep forgetting our royalty. And we have to remember over and over again our power until we stop forgetting. And that can only be experienced through actually living your life, not by consuming more information. The only way you'll truly learn is by jumping in the fire, not literally. It's by applying these principles in real life so that you can see actual change, not only in your reality, but in yourself. Because this is more important. It's more important that you learn how to use your power than you to create any stuff in the world. The stuff goes away, but you and your power remains. As they say, if you give a man a fish, he will eat for a day. But if you teach a man to fish, eats for a lifetime. You can be given all the things of this world, and they will go away. But once you learn how to master your reality, you always have the power to create any life that you desire. I am Ray. Learn how to train your nervous system to live in abundance, so you stop sabotaging your life. You can receive more cash money, much peace, and many blessings. And remember, just be